Hey everybody, it's Patrice and Erin, and we are over at the UK Bromley office, and we are talking about events today, actually. So first of all, I'll just do a little quick intro about myself. So I run a small team in the San Francisco East Bay area, and events is my jam. So before COVID, this is how I got all my business, is by events. It's very easy for me to build relationship. Before COVID, it was actually a lot more challenging for me to ask for referrals and ask for business. Thankfully, I've been able to refine that skill, and I'm much better at asking, and now I ask for 2 at a time. And before then, it just was easy to be in relationship with people. So that's what we could do with building events. So I'm excited to be here. And of course, my partner is Erin, and so she's gonna give you her spin as well. Erin, why don't you start by introducing yourself?
Yeah, Erin Wheelock here. I feel like you know me because we've done this last week, and there's a whole thing there. So you can read that if you'd like to. But I also am really big into events, and the great thing is Patrice and I just do events a little bit differently. So I'm excited to give the other side of it.
Yay! And thank you, Ian, for having us here. We're super excited to get to be a part of the UK. And of course, we're looking for you guys to interact and share and teach us some things that we may have missed. Because the one thing that Erin and I definitely noticed the first time that we were virtually in Zoom with you is that you guys spend a lot of time in your community. So really, that's very similar to what the events are. I mean, we're going to talk today about some specific ones, but it's really a way to reach back and be a part of your community. And one of the things we're going to talk about is how do we hold that accountable for business, right? So number one, why is this even a good option? Why is it a good option for you to spend your time? Because you guys, this is going to take time. It's going to take money and take resources, right? So why might this be a good option for your business? So I kind of have it on the screen, but I would love to hear, for those of you that came to the class, does anyone have an idea of why this is interesting for you? And this may be something that you're excited about?
Well, for me as part of the market center, it's more of how do we get into that community? How do we find more people? How do we get them to know who we are, what we do, how we do it, how we operate, everything about us, explain our differences and do it that way. So you can get in front of more people at one time rather than going through one at a time.
Yeah, I love that. And isn't it natural, right? You get to be who you are in your element. I mean, we'll talk about this before, but there are so many options, and I kind of have that on the list. Like Erin said, she does hers a little different than I do it, and there are dozens and hundreds, I guess, of agents that do it all a little differently. And you get to show who you are a little bit. You get to connect on a really natural level. And it's kind of like you're the lighthouse and that beacon. So you're setting yourself up in the community where people that are like-minded hopefully will find value with you, right? So I love that.
I think the beauty about it in the UK as well, it's pretty much never done. It's unheard of for an agent to do it. So that's a massive thing that I was looking forward to on this, especially this session, because it's what are we doing and why are we doing it? And it's no one else is. So how are you standing out? That's the easiest way. Just do it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have some ideas that I put up there of kind of things that you can do. That's just the short list. But again, some of it you guys were doing already. Again, we went in, you guys were already giving back to your community. You were, Mehmet, you're on my screen, you were raising money for people. You're doing things and you were already doing that care. So that's part of it. So that, by the way, I think that counts as much as anything, giving back and charity. You could do giveaways. Erin talks in her database mastery class, which is amazing, about her giveaways for her Thanksgiving pie giveaways. We can do a photo shoot. We've just lined it up where you can just say, here, I have a photographer that's booked for the day, and you give out these slots. We've hosted at grand openings for bridal salons of my current and past clients. You can do housewarming parties for your buyers. That's something we haven't quite gotten into on our team, and that we want to, is where we actually have a package and say, this is great, you just bought a house. We're going to host and spend up to this amount of money. You give us your your people. We will contact them. We will do all of the coordination and the invites, and we're going to bring a case of champagne and putting that together. So you guys, there's everything that you could do. Erin, do you want to chit chat, talk about some of those? Because I know you do these big events for some of your open houses. So share a couple of things that you do too.
Yeah, so we've done the housewarming, and it's great. The way that we do it is we'll tell them, can't wait to help you get into your new home. When you do, we'd love to throw a party for you. They stopped with COVID, but they'll be back shortly, right? Your pubs are open. We're almost out of this. But it was great. We would actually cater it with food. We would bring the beverages. We would go there, set everything up. We, of course, sent out the invites for them. And then we stayed there for like maybe a half hour and then we left, right? This is your home, your party, your time. But it is a great way for them to be like, oh yeah, they helped us get this space, right? It's a fantastic way. I mean, literally all of them were like, we know you're here for business, right? They know, they're not idiots, but it was still a great way to get in front of people and get some face-to-face time for that.
I love that. And Erin, you mentioned that you handled the invites. Can you tell, why would you want to do that?
Lead generation. Yeah, no, right? You're just getting information for people, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
isn't that
but
wonderful?
we offered, as we said, to send out the invites if they gave us a list. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, and then next is what kind of things do you need to consider? If this is something you want to get to, you guys, this is a business, right? I love hosting parties. You know, it's something that is one of my favorite things to do. And to be honest, on my team, I used to just throw this as parties. And now we're realizing if I'm going to do this, there's only so much time, resources, and energy that my team and I have, right? And lead generation is what I'm really committing to. This is a business. So what do we need to consider? So I just have some things on there. You have to know, what is your audience? What's your theme and your details? Like, who are you? And make sure it represents your brand, right? Like you want to have, if you're in a metropolitan area where you're working on getting young professionals, maybe don't throw the Easter egg hunt. If you're in a suburb where people are moving with kids, maybe don't lead with the drinking events. You can do we do it all, by the way. So we have something for everyone because we've developed it over time. It's just about finding who you are. You should have a marketing strategy. And we share a little bit of this on screen. You know, again, who is it that you're looking for? So just making sure that you're there. And then what about budgets? Are you going to partner with someone? What kind of resources? So we get free giveaways sometimes. We have a lender that supplies and pays for some of the food. But again, some of that, you want to make sure that you're having that control, as Erin talked about, is like she's connecting with their database. It's the same thing with any level of event, is you want to make sure that this is representing you and that you're in control of everything. Does anyone have any questions or thoughts on any of this stuff?
I know when we were in the States in Wisconsin, well, the one office that I helped in was right on the main drag. Anytime we had a public fair on the main street, we would set up a charity that would donate it to, but we'd have a bratwurst fry and sell bratwurst and stuff, and then just stand there and chit chat and whatnot. The other thing we did when I worked at the other agency, we were running the main drag, is a big thing is, and it kind of helped because I had the exotic animals, but we'd put on a sponsored by Green Lake Real Estate company petting zoo and let people come up and just had our signs around and chit chatted and stuff. So that was two of the things that we did that were a little bit different. I'm trying to think of other stuff, but that's two of the things that came to the top of my mind.
I love that. So you actually were bringing yourself, you created an event within someone else's event, right? So you found a way that people were going to naturally be there.
You know, like Oktoberfest downtown or
Fall
Harvest Days or whatever it was.
Did you say Wisconsin?
Yeah.
That's where I'm originally from. Give me a bratwurst and I'm a happy girl.
Bratwurst and cheese curds.
Cheese curds, bratwurst, beer. It's like the best day of my life.
Yep.
I started drooling when you said bratwurst. I felt like I should explain why. I love it.
I love that. Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Troy. That's awesome. Anyone else have any topics before we move on to the next one, or any ideas? We could add some more stuff too.
What I'd like to do through this as well is almost give you guys an insight to the UK, how it happens and what people actually do. So when you said about just showing up, not even on other people's piggyback on other people's events, if you look at school events, summer fetes, Easter fetes, Christmas fetes, things like that, you will have agents here who will sponsor the fair. They'll put boards up everywhere advertising it, and they won't even turn up. So it's just that
that's because you're not holding the people accountable to turning up.
But these are their own businesses. This is their business. This is their office. This is like, it makes no sense. They'll pay for the brochures to be printed, and they just won't be there. So their kids might not even go to that.
Yeah, isn't that kind of the difference between marketing and prospecting, right? I mean, they do possibly get some, and that can be okay for their branding. I think recently someone who gives me a lot of business asked me if I'd sponsor something. So we sent our money and our little thing over there. I don't expect to get any business from it. And what I told her was that same thing. I'm doing this for you. But if you want to make this a part of your business, right, then it has to be a part of your business, and you should be there, because you guys face to face and sharing like who you are and getting to learn about people. It's all about the data, like Gary says, right? Getting to hear who they are. That's the element that you're missing. And that's the part that you later can turn into a business, especially if we're talking about using your database and your nurture systems and running this at a high level. So yeah, we definitely want to change that. We're going to show that KWUK shows up and they're the face that everyone sees, right?
Yeah.
We never leave.
Yay! So I have on here, again, more stuff to consider, and I'm happy to share some of these slides. And again, Erin may have more of that other stuff. But while we have that on screen, Erin, do you want to share some of kind of the stuff that you do and that you love doing? Because again, Erin's so good at the database and you're so good at holding stuff accountable for business. I have to say that is, it's something I'm really working on learning the most of.
Yeah, so in terms of, I mean, look guys, events are events. I do events because it's my happy place. It's why all my open houses turn into events. For us, we are super, super specific about it though. I mean, eight-ish weeks, probably at least 6 weeks before the event is when we start sending out the invites. We don't do it as an Eventbrite. I know that that's up there. That's probably what you do, Patrice, but we actually do it as a Google form. And, you know, we have them put their name first, but the second thing that we do is we ask them, who are you bringing that I should know? So right off the bat, from the very beginning, they know that they have to be bringing somebody, or it's, you know, not required, right? It's an optional field, but that it's suggested that they bring someone that we should meet. I think it's just very important, no matter what the event is, that you're doing that, because that's part of the whole point of this, right? So you can meet people at another level. Yeah, so I'm going over this slide as well. I'm seeing like,
oh yeah, sorry, I know.
Things I should talk about. No, all good. Yeah, event budget. You know, we started, and there's nothing wrong with having somebody partner or sponsor the event. What we found with our events was when we would have like a bank, movers, title, someone there, they started, you know, putting a lot of their stuff in the gift bags, and they wanted to talk for a bit, and they were maybe a little bit different in communicating with people, right? Because some of our events, we have a couple events a year that are client appreciation events, and the point of it really is for them to bring people and for us to show our appreciation by doing open bar and catering it. And so I didn't want to start bombarding people. So while it was great to have people helping out with the cost, what we decided in the end was for the appreciation events, it's just better for us to do it without a sponsor. However, we do have sponsors in terms of for the gift bags and for our raffles. We always have gift bags and raffles. I think as real estate professionals, sometimes we forget, I don't know a better way to put it, but kind of the power that we have, right? We do have the power of influence. So we would go to, you know, one time we did an event on the Lower East Side at this fantastic restaurant space. And we went around to local businesses and we said, hey, we're going to be inviting about 50 of our highest referral sources. And they're like, referral sources, 50 people that refer you business, right? We're in real estate, our average price point is this, 1.3. And, you know, we would love to have one of your products in our gift bag. And you'd be, I mean, people are just dumping things in our laps. It's amazing. And then we can fill these beautiful gift bags with beautiful things. There's Atelier Cologne. They gave everybody cologne, but then they also gave them a gift card to go there and do like a smelling and sips, I think is what they called it, sips and smelling. So they also got this chance to like go to their store. We've had other people give us products, and some people, instead of giving us products, just gave us discounts. And then if they don't want to give us 50, what we would do is let them know, like, otherwise we do have raffles, and then we would just raffle off like one big thing. We do the raffle for two reasons. One, we always love to give gifts. But secondly, so that we can get everybody's information, right? So if they came from a friend, I'm still getting their phone number, their email. Do you rent or own? Do you have any questions on the market we should discuss after this, right? So we're getting all that information, and that's how they're able to enter for the raffle. So, but yeah, I mean, we have a lot of power. You can also very easily get free spaces. You can get,
I love all this. Like, I hope Jenny and Liz, you guys are writing down some of those notes. You guys, do you get the power of this? And again, Erin's building relationships with these vendors, right? That she's helping them to grow their business. So hopefully she's able to hold them accountable for helping her grow her business at some point. So it's really about using this event to leverage who you are and to build these amazing connections. So I love that, Erin. Thank you very much. I find that we have struggled with getting the information from those guests, because sometimes when I'm at the event, everybody wants to talk and hang out. And for a minute, it sounds good. And then you end up with like a line of people just waiting to be around you. And you, at least for me, sometimes I don't get to some of those steps. So thank you, Erin. I think that's such a great point of having that raffle of something of value, because you do want to grab all of their information, because that's the whole point, is this is a business thing.
Yeah. Well, and do you guys have, I'm sure you do, you have WeWorks in England, right?
Yeah.
For someone that's starting out in the business and they don't have a lot of money to spend, get involved with someone at a WeWork, because they have free space you can use and they have free beer. And I guarantee you someone in that WeWork distributes wine and would love to distribute it to your people. It is a free way to have a space and to get in somewhere, and then you can invite everybody from the WeWork. But that is an amazing free option for people that are just getting into the business and don't want to spend a lot of money. I
love that.
Yeah, that works really well, because we're actually in Regis, most of our offices. So we're in like a WeWorks environment, and I said I haven't run any events, but it's networking meetings, if it's land and new homes, or if it's landlord legislation stuff and things like that, updates about the property market in the local area. We just used the communal area downstairs late at night. No one knew we were there. We just did it. But invited other local businesses like architects, things like that, to come along, and they were bringing their own food. They were bringing their own bits to actually give away. So I think you were saying about registration as well. I remember the last time I actually went to something similar, like an event, a property seminar, and it was literally write your name, telephone number, and email address down. So I was like, I know exactly what you want for it, so I put everything wrong down. But if you do it in a different way of how you're saying it's a raffle, you're going to get something out of this. It's interaction. It's a call to action, right? You're going to put it down correctly. So I love that.
Yeah, I think that's smart. And so, and you guys, we're going to jump to the next screen, which is going to talk about some of the options that I do, and we'll share some of those things back and forth that Erin does as well. But I just wanted to show on there the measurable goals. I just think that that's important. Again, is for you to go in with that perspective of this always being a business. Yes, this is fun. Yes, this is branding. And at the same time, we want to make sure that you can hold this accountable, because it is taking time away. And if you're going to count it as lead gen, so what are you looking for, right? I believe you really should put something down. How many referrals do you intend to get, and will you be purposeful about? You'll just be more likely to be purposeful. How many people do you want to add to your database, right? It'll change how your dialogue is at the event before and after, the way that Erin does it, right? And you guys have heard me say, I like to ask for 2 referrals casually. And sometimes I don't always hold that accountable for business. If I have a goal that says that, I'll bet I may be more purposeful about that during my event when things are happening naturally. And again, we've already planted that seed, as Erin did at the beginning. How many, maybe you just want more exposure. So how many people do you want to like, share, and save? So then your dialogue is, hey, share this event and you'll get an extra thing in the raffle, right? If you share this. So you can look at it this all kinds of ways. But I just want to make sure, we want to make sure that you guys are thinking about this really with some strategy behind it. And then how many touches to your database are going to happen? And we share a little bit of that on a future screen as well with some of the stuff that we do. Again, it's just kind of like knowing and putting in your mind, what are you going to do? And by the way, you guys, don't expect for the first one to have everything, right? We do these a lot. Erin and I have been doing this for a while. On your first one, have some things, but realize that your event is not going to be perfect, right? Don't you agree, Erin? Like for a little while, it's like, okay, you just have to kind of Nike just do it a little bit, right? So we have some ideas of some of the stuff that we do on screen and some pictures, and you can see I've got Erin's New York one is a lot more sophisticated than mine, with costumes and silly faces. But again, that it's about what is that theme and who are you going for, and just having those opportunities to do those connections. So I have some of the list of what we do on screen, and anyone can ask questions. And Erin, do you want to share more of your stuff too, since I have mine somewhat on the screen?
Yeah, so we always do the client appreciation event, but we also do events around listings, right? We had this one penthouse for sale, and these owners were great. They had this beautiful, beautiful like loft. It was 2nd floor, windows, I don't know, 3,000 something square feet, just this floor. It was gorgeous. And then you could walk through this party store that was a full block. And then you would just turn around in the building right there. They had a penthouse in it. So they wanted to sell them both because they found something else, of course, before finishing the penthouse to buy. It must be nice. And so what we decided was, let's throw a fantastic event for the two of them together, right? But who do we know that can afford these apartments? Well, I don't have 50 of those people. So what we did was we actually partnered with a company. I don't know if they're still around. I hope they are, but they are like a luxury networking group, and you have to have a certain net worth in order to get in. So what we did is I said, hey, look, I know you guys like to do events. Here's the properties that we have. We're going to do a spectacular event. We're going to cater it. All I want is your people there. They agreed to it. So now we had, I think it was about 150 people in total that ended up coming through that have a net worth to be able to purchase this. So what we did was we had these big posters made in the penthouse that had photos of the other unit. And we worked with the car service. So the car service would pick them up in these like beautiful black Suburbans and then take them around the corner to the other one. And then it would pick up people there and take them around the corner to this one. And then we had it catered and raffles so that we were collecting people's information. But that was a great way to get exposure for something with high net worth individuals, right? And those people were like, this is fantastic. We don't have to pay to do an event for our people. And I was like, this is fantastic. We have amazing people in here. No, the car service was somebody else that we found. And we asked them if we could partner with them.
This is so smart, you guys. Do you see how she's aligning herself? She didn't have as many high net worth clients as she wanted for events. So she aligned herself with someone who had all of those high net worth clients. You guys are working together and you're kind of getting that co-branding and that co-trust. So again, it's just, I love this. It's so brilliant. And we haven't done that with our listings as well as we should. And you get me so excited when you tell the story. This is always one of my favorites. Now, and of course, this one had a higher budget, right? So, you had something that was a little bit more, but you also were very strategic about making sure that the event matched the audience.
Absolutely. So like the penthouse, it was very lively. We had music going. It was, that vibe, right? That penthouse vibe. We put, they had this tub they blew out the side of the bathroom and put a window and it like faced just straight downtown. It was gorgeous. And we put candles and rose petals in the tub, trying to give that sexy vibe, right? Maybe somebody will want it. And then at the other property though, it was very homey. We had the fireplace going, a different type of music. We had a wine tasting going there. So we really had to play that vibe off of each listing. But I mean, we love doing events and listings. It's a great way to get people there, great way to meet new people. And, if not get a buyer for that property, right? Hopefully we'll get a buyer inspired or a seller inspired to work with us because we're like, hey, look at what we do.
Yeah. I bet your sellers must have loved that, right? I mean,
yeah, of course.
Part of it is like they felt so special. So what a great way to have a raving fan. What a great way we talk about the unique value proposition, right? So Erin's really set herself up I think this is amazing. I'd love to hear anyone's feedback or questions or comments for Erin, because I think this is a really smart thing to do. And again, if that's not being done, you guys, what a great way to set yourself apart.
Yeah, especially if people aren't showing up, Ian.
Yeah, but again, with what I love about this is what you guys do where in your markets is how we would love to do it here, but it's never been done. And now we have the autonomy to be able to do that. But open houses and events, it's not really a done thing. And an open house is an open day, but you still book a slot. You have 20 minutes to look around. It's not like the feel and the excitement and the experience that you can give somebody, right? And just down the road from where we are, there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 million pound houses in gated developments, and it's just. But even those guys who get those listings, this isn't done. How much can we stand out from it? And I'd love that as well. If you don't have the clients, go and find them. Somebody else has.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's
a great way to set yourself up. And again, you have to do all of those touches before. So you really are building relationships with these people that are around high net worth people, right? So eventually they're great referral partners. And Erin has all these amazing connections because she cultivated it, and she's. They can rely on her and she can rely on them. So it's just so smart. I know in France, PH and Mael, when they were starting the KW Luxury, they did something similar. They got a house that was vacant and they found someone who had an art gallery, and they filled the space with art, and they found someone who was doing, I think, luxury car rentals because they're in Saint-Tropez. And so they actually, same thing, they ended up getting all of these people that are working with high net worth individuals that are day to day working with people that are going to ultimately be those buyers and sellers that have that same mindset. So yeah, the sky's the limit, right? You can truly do anything. And again, it doesn't cost you any money. It's just that connection. So pretty cool.
Ask me a
Yeah, and
question,
think
right?
of all of, yeah. Well, and like Mercedes, they are a brand that I know loves to partner with people. Get to know a salesperson there. You can have them test drive Mercedes when they're at, your listing. Go to retail stores. It's an amazing way to make your clients feel special. If you're like, hey, by the way, I've booked 2 hours just for our clients to privately shop at La Perla for Valentine's Day. Who do you want to take there? We'll have champagne and it's all yours, right? But they love it. Hugo Boss let me do that once. They actually supplied the champagne. But these retail stores need people, and calling up your people and being like, oh, privately booked just for our clients. Please let me know when you'd like to come, who you'd like to bring with you. It's a fantastic way for you to stand out, and you're also bringing business for these other places.
For sure. And right now, you guys, everything's about to open again. So find a business that you care about, that that person, and say, hey, I'd love to co-host an event here, right? I want to fill up your doors. And you guys invite other agents, right? If you're like, I don't know who's going to come, agents, of course, will come. First of all, most people don't turn away a free meal. We do broker tours here where the agents, we all tour at the same time and you leave it open. Well, we provide food. So that's what we used to joke, that it's called the free lunch. I'm like, I may not even have a buyer for that, but if your food looks good, we'll stop by because we're busy. And as agents, we don't always take care of ourselves because we're so busy. So, when you're just looking for bodies, use that as well. And by the way, right, profit share, growth share, it's a great opportunity. So you can invite agents from all over and show who you are. So that's a great part of business, but it's just bodies. And again, you're building a relationship. It's about creating energy, leveraging who you are and your strengths, and getting to have real conversations.
Yeah. Well, and also if you are going that route, because like she said, it's great, especially restaurants, right? They've been closed for a while, but make sure not to rent out the whole thing. Only rent out part of it, or ask them if you can only use part of it, and then bring balloons, bring a sign, something, have people wearing wristbands. You want the other people that are not in your group to want to be in your group, and you want them to ask, what's going on over there? Oh my gosh, this is just an appreciation for our event. I bet if you give a referral, we'll let you in. It's that easy, right? And then, all right, fine, there's one more head.
I would give a reaction
if they give you a referral, go for it.
I love that. Isn't that brilliant, you guys?
Love it.
And so simple. That's what it is. It does take some amount of time, but it should be fun. And it's just so simple to meet people that you naturally wouldn't meet, and you get to show who you are. It's so cool.
With what you were saying as well, is it comes back to the beginning, right? Plan what you're going to do, plan where you're going to go. It's a friend of mine opened up a pizzeria just before the first lockdown happened. He's still done business throughout that because he's had to. But I'm thinking around sort of events around that, what I can do with him. But there's so much more out there, even if the people that you don't know. And that's not me as an agent. That's me as just because I'm being a friend of him and what we can do to co-brand and promote him. But yeah, the guys on here that are actually out there on the ground doing it, there's so many people out there you can.
And I'm going to say, make sure you guys hire a photographer. Always get a professional photographer. I have a friend who is, she's brilliant. And she's incredibly wealthy. And we formed a charity together 5 or 6 years ago. And I just was amazed that she had a professional photographer on everything that we ever did. Polo match and going out, fundraisers. We just always had a professional photographer. And I remember thinking, that is so cool. And it seems so out of touch. Like, oh, it's only because she's incredibly wealthy that she has this professional photographer. Not that expensive, you guys. How many photographers are not in business right now and need clients? It's a great way to cross brand. But you want to have that. And I'm showing you on the screen, you see like the picture of like the mom and her son looking at each other lovingly. And look what's right behind them. My name, right? They post these pictures. We tag them. I'm all over the place because it's about what do we do before and after, and how do we have that? So So you can just randomly tag someone, right? And I've given them these experiences, right? And Erin's giving people these experiences where they're having fun. If you give someone a great experience, they're going to feel beholden to you, right? So when Erin makes that phone call and I make that phone call of, hey, can we do this? They're remembering that wonderful evening on the terrace with Erin, and they're remembering that time that I made their little boy. And that particular little boy in this little picture is autistic, and he has a really hard time having fun. I got goosebumps. He has a really hard time having fun and doing something, right? And she does not miss any of my events. And when we post something, she's always like, I wish I was there for Easter, right? So people are always start to have a memory, and the goal is to have like an annual event. So you want to start out with one, and who are you and what are you going to have on? My longest running event is my Barktoberfest. It's all about the dogs. You'll see pictures of dogs in costumes. So that's what we did. And people love their dogs, you guys. So we bought tons of dog costumes. We had a professional photographer, and we basically just did a barbecue in the park. People freaking love that. That ultimately, people came dressed up like the second or third year. They were dressed up like in dresses. I'm like, this is a dog event. And they're like, we actually used the photo last year for our Christmas pictures. So we thought we would dress up. So then I was like, oh my God, this is brilliant. So that year we actually started doing, we would just hire that same photographer. We booked her for 5 hours and we had 15-minute slots. And we were able to invite our entire database. It was a couple $100, and they were able to come on those slots. And by the way, then our team, we just went and took pictures. Of course, it's like, oh, we may as well do this at the same time. So I just want you to think, you don't have to be, I wasn't there for the photo shoot, by the way. There, the touches were it was all about them and giving back to them, because we always want to come from contribution. And I think I have that on a future slide. I'm just going to click ahead so you can see some of all the pictures of all the stuff you could do. You could donate to the food bank, right? If you guys have a food drive, and I know you guys are doing these kind of things, what is a way that you can get your community a little bit more involved, right? How can you get them where they're feeling connected and you're that conduit so they feel like they're doing something good, right? So anyway, I just kind of threw all of that stuff because, again, you look at all the happy faces, and Erin, you're right in the center. But it's all of that happy faces, and it's your way of conveying all of these kind of special things. So I'm going to go back to hold it accountable. And by the way, Red Day's coming up. I just saw the picture of Erin at Red Day, right? The Red Day's coming up. Is there a way that you can figure out how to get your community more involved in that stuff too? Right?
We're working on it.
I love it. Does anyone have any questions? And we put some other stuff on there. I don't know if you guys have garage sales there. I've never done that, but we have those A-frame signs that we use for our open houses. So quite a few agents, if you work a neighborhood, people have too much junk in their house and say, I'm going to coordinate this for the neighborhood. And you end up, it's a reason to talk to everybody in the neighborhood. It's a reason to show who you are. Basically, they do all the work. You handle the advertising. You can put the signs up. And I've never done this before, but I just always think it's cool. You use your signs with your name everywhere, and people are driving around, and you look like the hero of the neighborhood. And I remember once I sold a house, and they're like, oh my God, I don't think I was supposed to hire you. I think I should have. There's a realtor that's assigned to my neighborhood. She literally said that. I was like, assigned to your neighborhood? This lady just did a good job of coordinating she's a Keller Williams agent too, by the way. She did a great job of always being there, and they literally thought that she was the official agent of the neighborhood because she put her name out there. So it's just kind of, anyway, I threw all kinds of stuff up there, but anything you could do, you could rent out a movie theater so that kids' movies, that's a great idea on snowy days, on holidays. Those local theaters will usually give you a great prize. Erin talks about goodie bags, just having something, some sort of swag with your name on it, some sort of a raffle, and tell them to invite their friends. It's just a great opportunity for all kinds of stuff. Erin,
Ian,
I know
you could also, Ian, you could also do pizza and puppies. So there's somebody who built a huge business off of doing mommies and mimosa, but you can do pizza and puppies and make it like a monthly thing and support your friend.
His mum's got a cat rescue place, so that might be a different way of doing it. Maybe.
Right. Kitties and
pizza and pussycats. I don't know.
There you go.
Kitties and cannolis.
There we go.
Yeah.
Kitties and cannolis. I love it.
There's locally around here, there's networking events. I think it's ladies in network ladies in stilettos or something like that. There's smaller things that you've got things around here that you can do it. And I'm just thinking in my head is like renting out a movie theater. Oh my God, that's massive. But if you look at, then my mindset just changes. If you look at the relationships, you look at everything you can do, look at building relationships now with these people. Because when you need them, they're there. They know you are. They know who you are. Or you go, you're looking to kickstart. It doesn't have to cost you a penny.
Yeah.
I have a really good friend that used to rent out a movie theater. She's not a real estate professional, but she would kill it. I'm glad she's not. She'd be my competition. But she used to rent out a movie theater, and every Sunday night, she actually got the rights to show Game of Thrones in it.
Oh, wow.
Like, that's how much business
so
she was getting off of showing Game of Thrones, that she could afford to like pay for the rights to show it in a movie theater to her group.
That's so cool.
Movie theaters are not that expensive, by the way, but the rights to that probably would be.
Yeah. And a lot of times I see them where they're doing it for kids. Like they do it with like a cartoon. Kids will watch the same movie over and over again. So it doesn't have to be the new release. The kids will come like at 9 a.m, right? You don't have to offer them a whole lot. So, you know, again, figure out who your audience is and you could just talk with them and see what their programs are. It's real simple. And Ian, to throw it on you, I know our office sometimes, and I haven't piggybacked on that, but they have someone, an agent, dress as Santa Claus and for Christmas. And another agent, I know they were doing this in Louisiana this past time. Because the agent was like, I'm the Easter bunny for the week, right? And so you literally can do this as a market center. And then your agents can go back and forth, whatever you guys kind of decide. But again, those are events, right? It's a way, you guys were just looking for a reason to have to talk to somebody over and over again. And that's where we get to the next slide is, and we could talk more about the rest. It's just like, but we have to touch people, right? So we're looking for a reason for conversations, connections, communication. And part of the reason that I really like this event is I went to Mega Relief, I think it's like 5 or 6 years ago, and we were on the bus and they were talking, and like the idea of 33 to 36 touch, oh my God, I was afraid to call somebody once, much less like every freaking week. It's like, hey, it's me again. Do you want to buy a house yet? Gosh, no. Okay, I'll call you next week. Fingers crossed, right? Like that is what I was imagining in my head. And I'm on this bus and they're like, you should have events because if you have an event, you can have 4 events a year. And then you just do 6 to 8 touches around each event. I was like, oh my God, is it really that simple? And it can be, you guys, right? It can be if you're doing it strategically. And of course, you do want to be respected as a professional as well. So you do want to have some level of business there. And this isn't just about friends. But I just this is our touch program. And Erin, I'm sure you have your touch program that we can probably share as well. But whatever it is, and I think you said you start 8 weeks in advance, right?
Yeah, we start with a call and then we send them the Google form right away so that they can start adding a name or at least think about it. And then we'll repeat that a few times, calls, emails, text, video.
Yeah, I love that. And people always think about it before, right? You're like, oh my God, this is awesome. I have this thing called Slide Dial. And so I will leave a recorded message and it drops to everybody right before, because I don't have time to call 400 people. Right, the week prior, it gets to be a lot. We're doing a lot of touches and some of the people will, so I send out mass texts. If you're doing those kind of recorded things, you have to make sure it seems natural. So literally on my message, it says, hey, it's Patrice. I just wanted to make sure you remember that we're having the Barktoberfest. Wait, let me just check. Oh, okay, the date is blah, blah, blah. So I literally make it seem very, very natural. And people call all the time and go, I know what that's a recording, like the agents and the lenders. I know that's a recording, but oh my God, it was hard to tell at first. So you want to make sure that you're being natural if you're automating some of this stuff. What's cool is that all of the conversations that come back, I always know when the broadcast drops because I get dozens of calls and dozens of text messages. Now, whoever responds back, they get a personal phone call from me, right? And for those of you that are new, call yourself, right? So at this point, we have so many people in our database, I can't quite get through to everyone, but you want to make sure. But the cool thing, you guys, is that whoever has filled out that Google sheet with Erin, the Eventbrite with me, the Evite, a lot of them don't come. They say they're going to come and they don't. So after is even more powerful, in my opinion. That's the more important phone call than all the stuff before. Because after you get to say, I'm so sorry that we missed you. Like I was really looking forward to see you. You get to have a genuine reason to build that connection with them. You get to say, thank you so much for coming. It was really nice. I'm sorry I didn't have quite as much time to meet with you. Blah, blah, blah. And I've literally, and I'm sure Erin has too, have people that just randomly showed up and said, you know, so-and-so told me to come to this event. We're thinking about buying in the next little bit, right? I've met people at the park that I've ended up transacting and doing business with. We've had, and again, you're putting all of that stuff out there on social media. I had one time I had this, like, we were doing an Easter egg hunt and like all these people I've never seen before showed up. I'm like, hi, I mean, everyone's welcome, right? I'm like, how'd you hear about us? Like, well, who the heck are you? And they said like a local moms group or something put me on their calendar to make sure that it was like an event. So think about those things. So now we're a lot more strategic about who do we need to know that might put us on their website. So look, if you're doing a family event, look for that. If you're doing a pub event, you know, there are probably, we have the pink pages here in Oakland, and it's what's happening on the weekend in Oakland and San Francisco. In the Chronicle, like it'll have fun stuff to do. And usually there are some web versions. So think about what your audience might be. And if there is a bigger publication that can support you too, because there's all kinds of opportunities there. And again, it gives me instant credibility when they've just promoted me. And the other thing is have your vendors invite guests. Dory, my face painter, we have a face painter and a photographer for everything, right? So we want to make sure she brings her own guests to my events now. And I make sure to thank her for it. She is a referral partner. She wasn't at the beginning. Same with my photographer. And you guys, I use a different photographer every time. I do have a specific dog for, I know there's someone who's really a dog photographer, and thankfully she's cheaper than a human photographer. But I do check prices, right? So, you know, don't feel like you can't ask for a special deal. Hey, this is my first event and I'm hoping to do multiples. I can't really afford your fee. But what I will do is give you lots of promotion. Will you give me a special deal? Make sure you own the photos. And again, make sure that you're able to send those out. We used to mail the pictures and it just got too expensive and it was a pain in the neck. So now we just do everything electronic. We literally just send it and then, but we want to tag it. And you want to make sure that when you're doing this, you guys, I think those of you that know me and are on social media, I'm a tagging and a hashtagging machine, right? So, but you want to tag that and ask your people to share because then you're going to get to be in their world as well. Right? And again, this is all about fun and we only have like 9 or 10 minutes left. So I want to make sure that you guys have we have all your questions answered. Anyone have any comments or thoughts?
Erin, do you do face painting in your open houses?
In a different way. We do like superhero masks and stuff to get through. Yeah.
If you can make anything fun and you can make it about other people. I'd love what you said earlier as well about, look, it's still about adding value to other people's lives, right? It's not just about creating something to build something for yourself. And that's what I love about that. And it's just, yeah, I've got another page of notes. I'm just ready to party now.
Yeah. And if you can too, like one of the pictures on there, you can see Spook. It was 239 West 122, but we had a whole Halloween thing there. And we set up a wall so people could take photos in front of it. But then we created a hashtag for the property. So then we got everybody, they actually got to put in for the raffle if they would post on social media with the hashtag. So we called it like Spook on West 22nd, well, Spook at West 22. So we got people hashtagging the property, which was great for social media. And again, right, great for the owner. Then the owner can just sit on her phone and search the hashtag while the event was going on. So if you can do that.
I love that.
And then in that building, right, you guys are vertical. So your farm, ours is like we wander around a neighborhood. Yours is the entire building. So it's just amazing that now that social media, when you're looking back, and by the way, when I was looking for some of your stuff, I did find a bunch of the hashtags that match this. It was really neat to see how that kind of stuff pulls up. And the whole point, you guys, is everything is unlimited. It's just, you can do any old thing that you want. I'm in the suburbs, so that's why I naturally have it. This one here with the cookies, this was a grand opening for my hairdresser. By the way, she called me this week. I'm going to go value her house because she says if I can get $950 for it, I'll sell it next week. And my dad wants to sell his. I almost sold her mother-in-law's this year. She's referred me like 5 or 6 pieces of business. You know what I did? I made this little brochure with my KW, my name, and I brought a case of champagne. It is amazing. Oh, a case of champagne goes a long way.
And your sparkling personality.
Oh, that.
There you go.
Well, and giggles, and I do stay for some of those because she's a part of it, but I don't talk about business at any of my events either. People come to me and try and talk about housing, and I say, hey, can I follow up with you a little bit later? Because we also, like Erin talked about, this is about them and it's about coming from contribution. don't accidentally get pulled in, even if they started, because you just don't realize they want to know about them, and we get all excited, and it's going to next thing be about real estate. Not to mention, we want that follow-up conversation because we want to have a reason to go deeper and not to just talk about it at a surface level. This one that's here, I'm just throw ideas. This guy is my beauty doctor. I know, this does take work, you guys. He is a physician, also refers me a lot of business and was referred to me. So I'm helping to promote his business. So I have women, and we used to do this every quarter, and I call it business and beauty. So we had someone that came and sold Arbonne, which is like health products. And I had somebody who sold Roden and Fields, which is makeup. And so we actually bring in, I call it beauty and business. And we did it at his house, which, by the way, is about to be for sale. Not joking. And this is his house there, but I have all these women. This lady I met in BNI, she does like eyebrows. So I invite all of these women that are all about business and beauty. And so I'm supporting other people's business. I don't talk about myself at all. All we do is we offer, everybody loves Indian food, lots of Indian food and lots of champagne. Like it just, give me some chicken tikka masala and bubbles. People will just stay all day long. And it's a fun way, again, of just like setting yourself up in the middleman as the middle person. And of course, we coordinate all of the party, we coordinate all the invitations, and that's really all we do. And then we show up and laugh and smile. Cool, right? I'd love to hear some ideas of what you guys want to try over there, or how you're going to leverage what you're already doing to hold this more accountable for business.
Ian, we'll have to figure out how to get my smoker going out in public.
Yes.
Some briskets and stuff.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Erin and I will
I'll help
throw
you.
some
I'll help you with that,
bratwurst.
Trey. Well, Patrice said I need to dress up as Santa Claus, so I need to put some sort of weight on. So
That's what pillows
yeah, I
are
think it's a
for.
great. And do you know,
Sorry, I jumped.
this session is, I think, Patrice, I think we spoke last time, it's where we literally, it's like New York City. We literally, wherever you go in the UK, where we are, you live on top of each other, right? There's so many people within a compact area that you can get to know literally walking down the road. Imagine doing something like this. And I've missed a trick. The barber I go to, I was his first client in first thing in the morning on Monday. This didn't even come to my mind. I was some more thinking about, I need to get my hair done. But I could have done something. My business cards are on his wall, and one of our other agents, I've put them in contact because that's the area he's farming. But there's so much more that you can do with this, but I think it's just digging deeper into it.
Yeah, and what if you called him today and said, you know what, I'm so grateful, like I can't tell you, because by the way, Ian, we've been talking for weeks, and Erin and I have been in your market center. Your haircut, your excitement for your haircut has been like, we have talked about it, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of been the big joke. So what if you called him today and said, look, we just were in this events class, right? You were the first thing that I wanted to see. It was like, okay, of all the options of what I could do with my freedom, you were my very first one. What can I do for you to increase your business and your exposure? Because I'll bet you lost some time. And what are you looking for, right? Because it doesn't have to be just what I say or what Erin says or even what you think. Go to that person and say, what would be beneficial for you? And by the way, it might be like bourbon and buzz cuts. I don't know. And like, maybe he needs a cocktail hour to kind of refresh and get more clients out there.
He does sell beer as well at the same time.
Yeah.
So
There you go.
he's
Beer
part
and
of the
buzz
local part of the local brewery, so I could do an evening event. Yeah, I love that.
He probably doesn't want buzz cuts because then people won't come as frequently. So we're gonna have to find something else. But
Beer
right,
and
isn't
beauty.
this a fun idea? Beer and beauty. Yes, thank you. Anyone else want to share? Sorry, Erin.
One thing that we're starting really quickly on our team is Yasmini has a group of people with puppies. That's why the puppies are on my mind. And what she's actually going to do is we are putting together little baggies with dog treats in it, and then it'll be twisty tied with a QR code that has her contact info. So when she's walking around, if she meets someone with the dog, she'll be like, oh my God, I have this left over from an event. Do you want it? So it doesn't seem weird that she's just walking around handing out dog treats to random dogs. It's like a leftover, like, oh my gosh, this is from one of our events. Do you want it? And her information's going to be on it and everything. So you could do even something like that because, we are in such vertical places. You just run into people.
Yeah. And don't forget your sphere is also your internet. So hopefully she'll do some social media and some pictures and all of that stuff because you just don't know who's watching. Everybody's watching a little bit. And so you're planting those seeds. And so it's so cool, right? And so fun.
It's just planning, isn't it? I think it's just having the time to plan. get in front of the right people to start with, but it just, again, have fun with it. It's very much, as real estate agents or estate agents in the UK, it's very much a serious thing that we're just going to do this. We do property. The fun's out of it. We have the fun when we're in the office or when we're together. But what about everyone else? They need to feel that.
They need it more than we do, right? At least we've had Zoom and some of these interactions, and you guys were a member of KWW. We're all over the place. I think this has been a huge bit of support for me. I know I've survived and thrived a lot more because of these interactions with like-minded people. You guys, the rest of the world doesn't have this. They need what you have, right? We talk about energy a lot. That was on there. I don't know if Louise is on the call, right? It's all about energy. What can you do to get out there? This is the commodity, you guys. If there's one thing I've learned, is that's what people want and need. If you dangle a little bit of that out there with some, oh, I'm also professional, and look, I'm coordinating this, and kind of framing that up, wow, people will they'll want you all day long. And by the way, they're not going to sell their house just because you had an event. But when they go to sell their house, or when their aunt or their uncle or their sister or their cousin, you might own a little piece of their mind share.
I'm going through my head what we could do as an office, because we're, again, fairly new in the area. We're 18 months in, so it's what can we do to get that out there? We've been locked in the whole time, so what can we do to get out into that community and actually say, look, this is who we are, this is what we're doing. We've got enough
booze
guys
is very popular. I don't know if you can tell.
Yeah, or even stand out on the corner with granola bars and have like a QR code stuck on it with like the office information that they can scan. You could do anything.
Keep taking notes.
How fun. I can't wait to hear it. Anyone else is thinking of
very popular though.
Is anyone else thinking of anything that they'd like to try that they've seen on screen or heard today? Or something different, right?
Christos, Jatinda, Imran, anything from you guys? Imran's one of the new guys joining, so he's actually a financial advisor, so he may be on the phone.
Well, the other thing that he could also do he could use that to leverage and teach a class on that for first-time buyers. These are also events that I forgot to touch on, but this is a very big thing: first-time buyer events or seller events. So, did he want to say something on there? You don't have to, by the way. I just wanted to say you could do an event that I didn't know if I spoke over you, but you could literally do an event.
Yeah, he unmuted.
He unmuted. Okay, go for it. I can't see.
I don't know if it was to me or not. Sorry, I've had IT issues. That's why I put my video on. Hello to everybody. So it's first time here. Your ideas are brilliant. I love all this. I've done something like this before I've sort of joined as an agent. But the one thing I'm looking into, I run a football team. So I think hitting like the sports clubs or like the rugby, football, tennis, now, and also because that's outdoor, a lot of these players can't wait to start playing again as well. And you've got end of season drinks and that kind of stuff. So, but definitely what Ian said about doing something as a centre, I think that'd be great as well in the area.
And and it could be an educational.
Have an excuse right in front of you.
Yeah, and you're a financial planner, so it could be like a financial planning class for sports fans, right? I mean, you could do anything that you want, right? If you're thinking about selling your home, come and find out the best ways to do it. You guys could put on those type of educational events. It's also an event as well. And you have a lender, a financial planner, a trust attorney. If you want seniors, actually before COVID, I created a Sandstrom senior squad where I have a mover, an organizer, a therapist, a chaplain. We have all of these, that someone who's a senior, because we have a lot of expensive houses that people have a lot of equity in, and I like sellers, right? So what's your brand and how can you give back so that you can make sure that they get the very best out of it?
5, 6, 4.
You might want to mute Imran. I think he's giving out his bank details.
Wow.
I love it. I'm like, you're giving us all the secrets, Imran.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's good. I just want to say one more thing again for the new agents, because sometimes you're like, I don't have this budget, Patrice. I went to this amazing class, Ruthie and I forgot his name, Taylor, up in Portland. They run this amazing business, and I love theirs. Is they do an ice cream social. So what they literally do is they went to an ice cream parlor and said, hey, everybody that comes in and gives you my card, I'm going to pay for their ice cream, right, at the end of the day, and I'm going to be outside holding their card. And so they held an ice cream social, and they just were standing outside and giving their card to the people. And by the way, you can give it to strangers on the street, right? And I'm going to treat you to an ice cream. And they did all of the marketing and the branding around it. And it may only cost them 10 ice cream cones or 2. Nobody knows who else is coming for that kind of thing too. So if you have a very small sphere and you're like, I don't want to have this whole big rooftop patio and then 2 people come, that'll be weird, right? So just think of being strategic. Something like that could work.
Especially in the Regis, right? You can reach out to all the other companies that are in there and be like, we just want to do something for the office. We haven't been able to drink for a while, so come spend time with us.
Everyone's either they know me or they're annoyed with me because I'm so loud. I walk around in circles and I just go in front of everyone and talk to everyone. So it's
Maybe
win or lose, I don't know. But yeah, it's just getting in front of people, right? Because we've got financial planners, we've got developers, we've got a chiropractor up here. There's so many people in this building we just talk to, and we walk by each day. And that's why I've just literally written on my whiteboard in front of me, who are our connections in the office and what can we do?
Yeah. Neat, right? And again, this is like, you guys, the possibilities are endless here. The trick is that, yes, parties are fun. And number 2, you have to hold it accountable for business, right? If I didn't say that, Erin's going to kick me under the table because she does such a great job. And that's what I always learn the most is, what are you doing to turn this into business, right? You have to earn the right to be able to have the fun with these people. And that is by holding accountable. We're in business for a reason, right?
You know, I love that though, what you said, Patrice. I know we have to get going because we're over time here, but I had to write it down, like making sure that we're not just holding it accountable by making sure we get business out of it, tracking it as a source, right? But also having an expectation of how many referrals we want to get out of it. Because you're right, you're so much more purposeful when you actually have a number with a goal.
Yeah.
Or with your goal.
And talking in relationships.
Anything else?
We always wiggle to make sure we're not frozen when we're paused. That's why I always wiggle, by the way, because on Zoom, you don't know if it's frozen, right? If I just sit there quietly, you're like, did I lose the connection? No. Pause.
There you go, Ian.
So you guys, thank you for being here. You know, Erin and I are always available for questions. Next week, by the way, she goes into a little bit more because part of her database mastery class, she does talk about some of these, how she leverages some of these things. This is a spectacular class. I learn something every week. We've been doing this together for about 6 months, and it's absolutely changed my business, where business is now coming back because I'm implementing. I used to do a lot of work and a lot of business, and I'm seeing such amazing results because of what I learned from Erin. So do not miss this class. Next Friday, please invite a guest from another agency, right? Let's try and build up our growth share at the same time. Hopefully you guys know and trust Erin and me. And Ian, thank you for having us here. We love having you. Follow us on social media if you're not already. And we're just grateful to be here and be a part of your business and your world.
Lovely. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.
See you next week.
See you next week. Bye, everyone.
See you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.